Assalamualaikum. Hi,
Hello?
Pat.
Hi. Can
All
you see
right.
my screen?
Yeah, I can see Express. Yep.
So to be blunt about it, their site is pretty behind, so I'm going to try to simplify it more than usual. So
Okay.
well, first I'm going to ask her, do you have other sites, etc. If not, they get decent amount of traffic, but in reality, this is the kind of site where we could probably guarantee results a lot more firmly. You
Good.
know, they don't have.
Good. So make sure to capitalize on that, the fact that, value.
It is a bit hard to say. I mean, I see a lot of errors. I don't want, you do need to be a bit finite.
You don't say errors, just say guarantee that you will improve. Don't mention any errors.
Okay.
Leave it for you later to discover after they signed up.
Do you want me to, I'm going to introduce you as well so you can jump in whenever you want.
Introduce me.
Okay.
If there is any need, I will jump in. If not,
Okay.
I'll silent and listen. Unless you want me to just...
I mean, if you want to be honest, I don't have my, I'm not even sure, we're all a bit out of the loop of this closing process. James and Nate are kind of doing their own thing for what they're initiating for. We need to catch up with them tomorrow. I don't have that firm call to action at the end of the call. I don't have those things.
Okay, let me do that.
Okay.
I will do that.
Okay, that's including pricing, etc.?
Yeah.
Okay. So you oh yeah, I mean, what he's doing, saying currently offer, blah, 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 will, okay, that's fine. If you want to go there, that's fine. A side note, Tori emailed. Hey, do they confirm?
Which?
Rachel Radici?
Let me look.
I mean, yeah, it's 11 even, so, I mean, they have a 7-8 minute window before we can start.
Okay, no problem, no problem.
And have her phone number ready too, Tori, particularly if she didn't.
No, she didn't respond.
So she didn't confirm?
She accepted the meeting, but she didn't respond to my email.
She didn't confirm that. Did you send an email confirming yesterday?
Yes.
And she didn't respond, right? Okay, you can get her phone number. So yeah, we'll assume it's. You got it?
Yeah, I mean, she can have her call. I think it would be more productive because maybe she wasn't going to follow.
All right, I'll give her 6 minutes or so. Oh, and you can keep it pretty short on the follow-up with, what's her name, the person Tori emailed you.
You mean Sharon Wang?
Yeah, just because, I mean, we told her in advance follow-up like this, but it went pretty well. I'm not concerned about her. So just because we told her real short, just wanted to see, whatever, so.
Yeah, if I don't need to. If you are happy, that's fine. But if you told her I will call, I will.
Yeah, that's fine. Keepish, I just wanted to introduce. What do you do? That's interesting. I hope any questions on my end after interview.
No problem.
So whatever.
No problem.
Yeah, and the nice part about her was immediately she said she's used softwares just like ours that do the same thing, etc. with her experience. When obviously they were things that required downloads where they brought people in manually. So that was interesting for me to differentiate very clearly, let her know this hasn't been possible before, and also tell her quite frankly that about, it's going to be nice to differentiate what you learned and apply the common sense that seeing what you do is a lot more valuable. So,
okay.
Here,
I think someone came in.
Hi, it's Rachel Rudiso with Express.
Hi, Rachel.
Hello.
It's Patrick and I with Oopgo. How are you?
Good.
So I just want to make sure, first of all, can you see my screen? I entered in at least the email in your signature, expresspros.com. You see it?
No. Let me refresh, maybe.
No problem. Yeah, sometimes it takes a second.
It says I'm connected. It said connected to GoToMeeting, but I don't see your screen.
You don't see my screen. Okay, so you don't have any kind of screen sharing open?
No, I mean, you want me to share my screen?
Oh yeah, mine is currently shared. I'm not sure. I'm assuming you've used GoToMeeting before in that case. If you
Yeah. So I don't know. It still says that my session hasn't started. It says your session should start in a minute.
Okay, we'll give it a minute in that case. Yeah. Yeah, everyone's
Right,
so
it
familiar.
hasn't because we don't see racial names either on the list here, so maybe they are still connecting and she wouldn't be able to share or look
Okay.
at your screen.
We'll do it. So, Rich, I want to know first off, is Express Pros your main website or domain, or do you guys have a few?
I don't really. I do not have much to do with expresspros.com, to be honest. I manage our website, expressfranchising.com, so I can only speak for that.
Okay.
If
Are
you
they
would
both?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just asking if they're both owned by the same company entity. You just kind of manage the websites differently?
Yeah, we do manage them differently. But yeah, it's the same company. Express Services, Inc. is the parent company, and then we franchise. So we franchise under the name Express Employment Professionals.
Okay. All right, that makes sense. So you have, I'm assuming you guys have a few other websites and domains in that case, aside from franchising and Express Pros as a company?
Not. I mean, we have an intranet site, but other than that, not really.
Okay. I'm going to give it, so what we're doing today is basically a 15-minute capability overview on our end, showing you basically what we can offer, how it can add value to your business. And from there, take a step back. Feel free to interrupt me anytime and talk about how that's used for companies like yourself more directly.
Okay. I'm going to open the GoToMeeting link in Firefox and see. I mean,
Okay. Yeah, take a shot. Yeah, if you've used it before. If you haven't, usually I'd move on. But yeah, give it one more shot. If not, we can chat, keep it short, and possibly.
Understand. That's why I'm wondering did you set a time in your meeting setting in GoToMeeting?
Well, I have, right now we're in different locations. So me and Inat are, because it's working on his end. He's in a different location. So, I'm going to send you an invite. 1 second, please. One more invite won't hurt directly from here. We'll give it a couple minutes. 1 second, please.
I think it might, I don't know.
If you can remind me, your email is Rachel@ or Rachel.lastname@?
Yeah, Rachel.Rudisill@expresspros.com.
Okay, one moment, please.
I think I'm in. It worked now.
Okay, you're in now. I think we're good.
I don't know what the deal was, but I'm in now.
Okay. In that case, do you see your, we might as well switch over to your current website on the screen?
Yep, ExpressPros, yep.
Okay. Okay. Let me ask you, what is your guys on the website, and what is your primary call to action, so to speak? What's your main what you're trying to accomplish on your website?
On this site, it's to fill out that form.
Okay. So your most important goal, so to speak, is to fill out that form and get people started.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Well, that's great. Yeah, that's a great example to start out from what I have pulled out here. So to introduce on our end, we're a digital marketing intelligence company, and what we're going to be presenting to you is our complete web intelligence technology. What it is, do you guys use an analytics currently, or any intelligence usability technologies such as Google Analytics or anything similar?
I use Google Analytics.
Do you use anything in addition to it for anything aside from the standard analytics on that end?
Yeah, we use for expresspros.com, we also use, I believe, and it's been a few years since I've been in that department, Web Trends.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I'm real familiar with that as well. So that's usually considered more of an enterprise technology, so to speak, higher traffic from the Google end. But we can compare directly at that end too.
Okay.
Okay. So Web analytics technology, the web trends, the Google, basically the entire market, it's always been based on the premise of storing what happens in between the visitor path. So when a visitor goes from page A to page B, that's the information that's stored. So it gives you an idea of kind of what's happening, where people came from, where they went to, you know, along the course of your site. So where there hasn't been a focus is on all the individual page movements themselves. So our technology is the first technology that is creating a record of the entire web interaction with every customer. So what that means in a very practical applicability to yourself is if someone wrote, someone filled out 60% of this form on your main page and they left, we would also be able to keep a record of those details. We'd be able to measure their typing speed. We'd be able to see any movement that caused them to leave. And also, of course, if they entered in their contact information, you would be able to capture all those abandoned leads, where traditionally you have to wait for them to submit their information.
Okay.
So the two quick examples in this case here, you know, this is a similar form. You know, typing in the information, the more detailed choices. What we're able to do with these more analysis, more details is, you know, come up with analytics relevant to your specific scenario for your main call to action, which, as you said, is your form. So in this bank example here, we have someone chooses their total. You know, the call to action here is pretty clear too. It's to submit a form. If someone is choosing their investable assets in this case, we determine the confidence level of their choices based on how many times they changed their mind, how many times they went back and changed information. So for this example here, this case, we were able to double the efficiency for a site identical to this one just by changing the form process on the page and getting deeper insight into what's going on once you're there. Is that pretty clear to you? I guess just the general premise of what this additional storage means when we say we're capturing all of the data that happens on the page as well.
Yes.
Okay. The last example I'll give here, you know, this is a macro-based example here to get averages for the entire site to understand, you know, whether or not what you're doing is working to make things more efficient. The other example here of our flexibility is this is an example of a view where you could view each individual entry individually. So in your case, you could search and you could say, I want to see all the people who filled out the first two columns, then left my page. We don't need to dig around a lot of data. We have specific modules for those exact instances, which label someone as abandoned, let you know whether they abandoned or submitted the data. If they submitted the data, we have a physical record, you know, and we can throw out and customize any other. By default here, we have the average time for field, but we can customize any kind of deeper analytics that are relevant, you know, to not throw a lot of data at you and use them in an actionable way.
Okay.
So the other end of this coin, from being the first company to store all of these details to use in the traditional sense, is through this storage, we're able to recreate every individual customer visit on your site in a video format. So you could go through your general analytics and you would be able to view them as a video for each session the exact way that your customers visited your site. In this instance I'm showing you here, it's just a demonstration of the kind of control we have. You can pause the view, you can speed it up, and you also, this usability button here, it looks like it's expanding the screen. What it's actually doing is showing it in the exact same resolution as your customer. So if someone's using mobile, something similar aside from a normal web page, you could take a deeper delve into the exact way they saw your page to improve your usability on a macro basis, or individually say, why did this person leave? Oh, we had a website error. So.
Okay.
So that's the other, and is that pretty clear when I show? And so you know the installation, here's a relevant note. The installation of this, it's as lightweight as Google Analytics. It actually loads faster, so it has no effect on your website whatsoever. It just gives you, you know, the complete analysis into what happened.
Okay.
So these two example views here, these weren't a direct look into the product itself. They were kind of, you know, case examples. So the last thing I'm going to do is show one more example view of how deep we go into mobile. and then just spend 5 minutes with showing you the practical login and starting point to get to that information to make sure there's no concerns from a usability perspective. All this is here, Rachel, is an example for mobile specific of what you're going to see on the screen is the actual finger movements made by people using your site. So you can actually, this is all about understanding user struggle. Why are people not figuring out that form? How do we get more people to fill out this form to increase our overall ROI? So this demonstration's real simple, just to show that we're going pretty deep into the full creation of mobile in addition to just computer by computer. Do you have any questions at this point, Rachel, or should I move on for?
No, I'm good right now.
Okay, great. This screen as well, this last example I did before we dive into the product is we have a couple patents pending on this technology. We are the first company you can view. If you have 5 visitors on your site, you can define the segment you want to view. You're able to also view them in a macro basis, all of the visitors as a whole, to let you to, if you want to live chat with them, engage them in any way while they're actively viewing your site. This technology lets you view them exactly as what they're doing. So this is just an example view that's usually customized depending on use case. In your guys' cases, you could say if someone had come to my site and twice filled out information without clicking Explore Express, the 3rd time he comes on my site, I want him to show up on the live dashboard to figure out whether or not we need to engage him directly, figure out what's going on, or if it's worthwhile to send him to another page or form directly from this page. So it's just, the whole premise of having complete control of your traffic. From this view on all of the visitors, we have a lot of pride in our usability and integration of most analytics products are going to be really spread out. You have to dig around to see what's going on. In this example, I clicked a view details I went from seeing the number of people on the site. Here I'm digging into that individual user directly. So this is showing me that this customer has entered my site 24 times in the past. Here's what they've done in the past. And just a nice view to get complete understand the customer life cycle and situations in addition to looking at things as a whole. And just like we've tried to stress that the data is an important piece of this puzzle, we also accompany each customer section with any data that we measure. Whatever we speak to your company in advance and say, what are your 4 or 5 KPIs you want all of this organized by, so you don't have to get too dirty on the technical end, and you give us back, here's what I want to define, and from there we can have simple filters applied to our whole system to only look at people for, I would assume off the top of my head, abandonment would be the biggest priority on your guys' end, which what you'd want to understand and try to remedy.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, it's just going to be a couple more minutes on the end. I'm just going to show you, just to understand it's a web-based product. You just log in directly through a website. You'd receive your own login. And from that view, I'm not going to dig into the individual analytics. We have the usual modules. Any information you want, just knowing the difference of being able to go deeper when it comes to the information. What's relevant here is for cases, if I wanted to focus in your case, let's say people who came to Google from a specific keyword. We go directly from the view giving you the general information to, in this case, are you familiar with the term session, Rachel?
Like one visit?
Yeah, just essentially a session is generally noted as, one visit. Yeah, the number of, so someone, if they visit 5 pages, that's considered a session per visitor.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So in this case, assuming that as opposed to our company name, this was relevant to yours, I'm digging into a specific segment. What I think is very beneficial is you can look at this by default on a session-by-session view to kind of get an overview of what happened. Of course, you can actually watch it by clicking. But you can also split this up once you're in the segment to view it by the customer history view. So if the same customer entered 3 different sessions, it would basically show less results. It would only show, customers individually. Or you could switch that directly into a page-by-page view. So if you wanted to look at usability for a specific page, this just basically gives you full control of the 3 base ways of analyzing user traffic, which is either by the visitor history, the session, or the page. So we have that integrated from all of our modules to go seamlessly from view to view. The last detail here, just to kind of fill in the gap from the demonstration I showed you earlier. From here, so if we're looking at the page-by-page analysis of your website traffic, any case you want to view on view details from here, that's how we get into this past customer view. So that's just to demonstrate, the practical usage of this. If you wanted to identify all of your abandoned customers, you could take a closer look into their past history. You could take a closer look into, the patterns, only all associated with the people that you're interested in taking a look at.
Okay.
Is what I've shown pretty clear and straightforward so far, Rachel, to understand what's going on our end? Okay, great. In that case, I'm just going to wrap up with a couple more examples that I just generally, we have a pretty, we have a ton of modules, a ton of different things going on, but that's a different discussion. All these analytics products take a while to dig into. So I'm just going to bring up a couple scenarios that I would assume would be relevant on your company's end. You guys use conversion funnels? Are you familiar with that term, Rachel?
I know our conversion rate.
Okay.
But I don't view it in a funnel.
No problem. I was just wondering to. So the example.
Just a second, Pat. Rachel, what's your conversion rate right now?
It's somewhere. The average for the last year probably ended up around 3.5%.
Okay. Do you know the volume or how many pages are visited every month or per whichever unit you follow?
Do I know in relation to people that view more pages, does the conversion rate go up?
Right. No, if, for example, how many visitors do they come on your website?
Your page views per month, if you know that analytic, Rachel.
Well, I track unique visitors more than that.
Okay.
So, I average about 1,200 unique visitors a week.
Okay.
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 No
Thank
problem.
you.
So and in your case, of course, you're not going to have many people. It's going to be a lot of impulse purchasing, I would assume, a lot of impulse decision making when it comes to someone moving ahead and committing. So that's going to be a different scenario. So what this funnel is long story short, if you wanted to set up, I want to see people who go from my homepage, then click Who is Express, and then take the next step, your primary call to action. It creates a funnel to know this many people dropped out between clicking Who is Express to filling out this form. So if the percentage on that step, let's say, were 10%, you would be able to aside from knowing that conversion percentage and being able to set these up, in 20 different detailed scenarios on your site, our big differentiator is you can dig specifically into the people that left your site, and from this view their video to understand exactly why. So I don't think it's worth clicking through, but this is just one of those big answering the whys as opposed to just getting a number and then going back to the top and figuring out how you can fix that number. So.
Okay.
So on that end, the last detail I'm going to show is, do you know, Rachel, if you guys use any kind of tagging system to segment or filter your traffic currently?
I don't think, so that they see a different site or that they come in at a different page, or are you just talking about like tags in the content?
Well, tags to using for filtering, to look through your customers, to say, I'm going to tag this person as a high-value visitor.
No, because, it's not like we have different products, like this person's wanting, I don't know, online banking, this person's wanting investment services, this person's, you know, I mean, it's, you either want to explore franchise opportunity or you don't. I mean,
Okay.
there's no different audiences, really.
Okay, yeah, and I was referring to pushing content as well, but I'm going to close that off for now. The important detail is from a capability perspective. These are usually split up into a few different products. We have the ability integrated with our whole system to define something such as, let me know the people who abandoned, who visited more than 4 times, label them as a color, and then from all of our different views, you can search through those individual tags just to be able to coordinate through your site more efficiently. That was the main point going to be made. But,
Yeah.
okay. So
Yeah,
on. Go ahead, Rachel.
And we don't have a lot of repeat site traffic. It's pretty low.
What's your main traffic referral source, if you happen to know, Rachel?
Probably to Express Franchising, a lot of it is Express Pros, like our regular site. But then, I mean, we run pay-per-click campaigns and then just search. But I would say organic search is second to them coming through expresspros.com, and then pay-per-click is below that, just because we don't do, I mean, we have a consistent pay-per-click budget that we run, monthly, but, and then we do some advertising, like direct advertising at different points in the year on specific sites. So, like, right now we're running a campaign with Black Enterprise, and we're getting, a good flow of traffic from that specific campaign.
Okay, yeah, great. That's what I would assume. I would just, like you said, if you're only focused on your unique traffic and not looking to make you're looking for impulse decisions, uniques is the main thing you usually want to focus on, and that's almost always through organic. Ideally organic, obviously, and then pay-per-click as need be. So.
Yeah, and I would say, only about 15% of our site traffic returns.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably being generous, to be honest, but yeah. Pretty much you come, you're either going to do it or you're not. And if they don't decide to fill out the form, what they'll do is investigate us in other ways, like some of the franchise portal sites like FranchiseGator, franchise.com, those kind of sites, entrepreneur.com, and they might fill out a form there, or they'll work with a business broker. And a lot of our new or prospective franchisees work with a business broker. I don't know if you're familiar. It's like a realtor for franchise opportunities, basically. And so what happens is these brokers tell them 3 opportunities that they think are in the right financial range and the right style of business that they're looking for. And then that candidate will go out and research those 3 opportunities. So those people necessarily won't fill out the form because their name has already been submitted to us by that business broker. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. Yeah. Are you paying per lead from the broker, or is it a one-time fee? Are you paying per lead depending on how many referrals?
We pay per sale. If that person actually buys our franchise, then they get paid.
Okay. No, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, I know that industry pretty well. So.
50% of our new franchisees are through those broker relationships.
Okay. Are you guys digging much then into the path that creates that to happen, or in your mind is it it's either going to happen or it doesn't, and it's on the third party to make it happen?
Well, there's just no telling we give that broker different resources beyond our website to direct that person to, like videos and things like that. So it just, I think that just really, I was just kind of saying that because I think it plays into a lot of why we have so few return visitors, because our website doesn't offer a whole lot of information. What we want them to do is get into our back-end system, which is like a virtual brochure that's tied into our sales management system.
Mm-hmm.
That's where they get more of their information. So they're, what they learn on our website, they're done. I mean, there isn't anywhere for them to go there. You know what I mean?
No, I understand exactly. So this, I mean, your primary call to action is getting them to submit the form, and from there, the virtual tool to kind of takes care of it. That's, I mean, it makes sense to have a practical focus in that regard. So,
yeah. So while I think that this analytics tool that you're offering is really interesting, and I am going to share it with Sonia Bearden that manages ExpressPros.com, I just don't know if there's enough going on ExpressFranchising.com to make a tool like this really necessary. You know what I mean? Other than the ability to capture the form information, however, we get enough leads every week that I don't really want to talk to people that weren't willing to fill out the whole form.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
now that makes perfect sense. So then in those cases, maybe only if they had a website-related error that caused them to struggle might be the only people you're interested in, not those who didn't have intent.
Yeah, because it's such a big decision, and it's not like, hey, you kind of got through the process of buying shoes online, but you didn't check all the way out. So now I'm going to maybe send you an email with a 10% off coupon, and now you're going to finish your shoe transaction. These people are investing their whole life savings, so they're very cautious. So we would just have to be so careful if they did give an email address but not fill out the form. Like, even if they gave their name and we knew we had that name from a broker and we were kind of matching it all up, you know what I mean? It's a sensitive environment. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. And, for those examples, talking about this, having the more information, it doesn't require the need to follow up with those people. In your case, it sounds like it wouldn't be a great idea. It sounds like the only potential benefit to focus on more would be the usability to get through that process as a whole, and understanding how many people are coming from cell phones and maybe losing their way to get through the process as opposed to disinterest. That's just what, off the top of my head, that's what it sounds like as a whole.
Yeah.
Patrick, can you please put the conversion site on that funnel?
Do what?
Sorry, go ahead, Rachel. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, do you guys, just from doing the business that you're in, do you know what a standard amount of mobile traffic is to a site? Like what percentage? I mean, we see about 10%.
You're talking about mobile traffic to your site, correct?
Which includes tablet traffic in the way we look at it. And it's only at about 10%, which seems low to me. But I don't know if it's that people research our company maybe during the day because they don't like their job and they're thinking about buying their own business.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, is there a standard of percentage of mobile traffic with sites?
Yeah, right now it's in the late 20s. If we're talking, these numbers are never exact as a whole. But, I mean, as you can guess, that's going up pretty dramatically. But for cases like yours, I mean, the long story short of it is it's not as much of an impulse decision. I said that earlier, but it sounds like someone needs to be pretty committed. If you're doing employment, you're not sitting there ordering a pizza from your cell phone, so to speak. So the challenge there is all, in my mind at least, from our experience, we have optimized a lot of sites as a service on the side. My experience would be just to try to get the attention of someone from a mobile phone to try to get them on their computer later on once they have time to get a closer look. So maybe just an email form that says, give us one detail, and from there trying to close them over, a 10 email series, something along those lines. But your business, of course, better than me. But that's the general experience with something where you're not going to close them over a phone because it takes such commitment and not something you do casually. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, Rachel, I would like just to bring up, go back to the funnels, Pat, please. I want to bring up this scenario here, the numbers that you gave us, 3.5% conversion rate, I'm assuming that you have computed that out of the 1,200 or so unique visitors that you get every week, correct?
Yes. You say a certain number of forms? I'm sorry.
Right, so what we are saying, the 3.5% is your conversion rate, and this is computed as a percentage, so 3.5% of all your unique visitors that are visiting your website.
Yes.
Okay, imagine, look at this funnel before us here. Imagine if your number, instead of 3.5%, could go up to 7% or 6%. Just imagine how much it will do to your business, basically, both from an opportunity point of view and income and return of all your investments, including all your efforts in advertising and marketing and your relationship with the real estate. Another idea here, looking at all what you can now with all the analytics and other products, all what they can do is look at those 3.5%, which here is the 15.31% on the funnel that we have, and also even less than that, to study why and try to understand the whole story from these success stories. Now, what we can do, what we started doing with Oopgo, is going one step above, 2 steps above, and going into the red area and the brown or orange area, basically, to try to understand why those people, so other than the 3.5%, that leaves 96.5%. What happened to them? Why did they leave? So if you had the ability, it's like reading their mind, seeing exactly what happened. Did they leave because they were intimidated, or did they leave because they did not find what they were looking for, or did they start to fill that form but then didn't finish it whenever they came to email, or whenever they came to last name, or whatever information. So if you knew that, you could go back and modify what you are asking them and adjust it to what you think from a marketing perspective you can get better response. So even if you were able to increase by 1%, normally it's extremely significant for any business. But here, from what we have been talking here, I think there is a big opportunity to increase it by several percent, not only 1%. I just wanted to bring that, just to make sure that we understand what we are talking about here, specifically the kind of value that it would apply to your website in particular, and to people, enticing more people to fill in that form. And if they don't, understand why, because you need probably to look into it a little bit deeper, and therefore, because obviously you are trying to reach out to market, and look for all the potential that you can get in. Does that sound reasonable to you?
Yeah, I mean, yes, it does, and I think it would be beneficial to know. I mean, of course, just like anything in life, though, I mean, it's like, well, how much would that cost to have that type of information? And for a site as limited as ours, I mean, it's not like there's a long process or transaction for them to take on, and there aren't that many pages for them to even go to. You know what I mean? It's valuable for sure, but it's such a thin process. Our process is so thin on this particular site that I just don't know. You know what I mean?
No, I understand. Let me ask you just directly, Rachel, if you were to see an increase of 1% in your conversion rate, how much do you think a product that would give you that would be worth? How much are you willing to pay for 1% increase in conversion rate?
Here's the deal. our website isn't the best lead source for people actually purchasing a franchise at the end of the day. Does that make sense? Like, in the last year, we sold about 45 franchises, and I believe only one of them was from our website.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, the question sounds like whether or not it's a priority or an attempt to improve that, of course, and make it a priority. If it's not on your guys' interest list, like you said, more leads than you can handle, then it depends. So.
Yeah, I mean, the leads, like, for example, I mean, last week we got like 150 requests for information on this site. And this year so far, just because we just launched this 30th anniversary promotion that you can see there, our conversion rate for filling out the form is 6.5, almost 7%. So, which is way higher than it was like for the average of all of last year. But I think that's just because we have a big push going on right now since we just launched this 30th anniversary promotion, which basically gives the first 30 new franchisees in 2013 $30,000 in working capital to start their business with. So I think more people are like, hey, why not? I'll give it a shot. I mean, if I can start a business, I can start this franchise with no extra cash, and I can start this one and get $30,000 to start it out. Why not pick this one, you know?
Yeah.
So, but at the end of the day, our two number one ways that we get new franchisees, now this isn't inquiries about our opportunity, but people that go all the way through the process and become our new franchisees are the brokers that I told you about earlier, and we have internal recruiters that actually cold call people. Since we're in the staffing business and we find people jobs, that's what we're used to doing. So we basically treat it like an open position, and we just call people and ask them if they want to be in business for themselves, and would this be a good opportunity. So those are the two top ways we get new candidates. So improving our website experience, it's just one of the ways it's not like our lifeline for generating new franchisees. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, it makes perfect sense, but you are identifying different sources because so far you have not used your website as one of the major sources for new business. But again, imagine, I mean, you brought the issue here, the $30,000, you know, the incentive that you are bringing up this year brought you more customers. So if you were to know that tactics like this, for example, always bring you on a continuous basis more visitors, more inquiries, and therefore more sales, and raising your conversion rate further. So instead of the 6.57%, maybe 10%. This, I'll go back to my original question. Is that worth some money that you could spend, for example, invest basically to make your website another serious contender with your broker source and internal recruiters in bringing you new business?
It's a hard question. I mean, I just don't know if changing the activity on the site is going to change the type of people that come to this site. Do you know what I mean? Like,
you're talking about because you're generating everything. It sounds like what you have the most control, organic and pay-per-click. So it sounds like if you're generating that way to be, just to bring up, actually that's probably the main scenario people are interested in looking at is accompanied with this activity could be for a particular pay-per-click keyword or organic keyword, what's the average value of customer? To understand what is the value of this pay-per-click keyword, how many results does it lead to, what percentage of uniques, how many people are just, because Google will give you how many people converted, you know, the impressions and the people who click through, which you're paying on. So that's just an example of, on our premise, as much as looking at the traffic, it's fixing the process. And like you said, it all depends on the total dollar and cents worthwhile. If you can fix that process to get more targeted keywords at less of a budget, is the X higher than Y. So that's just a good example for our case.
Here's the deal. On my website, we're not a huge web-driven business.
Mm-hmm.
So how much would I be willing to pay for something like this? It wouldn't be more than a few $1,000s a year, just because it would be crazy for me to spend much more than that, because I only spend, even with pay-per-click, maybe around $50,000 a year on my website total.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So I'm not going to spend $20,000 on a analytics package. You know what I mean? Like it has to be in perspective.
No, of course it does.
How about if we gave you a price for the entire years around 12,000?
About what?
12,000 for the year. Would that be a number that you think if you can increase your conversion rate by 2 percentage points, would it be worth spending 12,000 for the first year, and then you would have the experience and you will see for yourself what kind of results and do the math, obviously, and if it's justified, you continue with it at the appropriate level depending on your gains from it, or you say, well, it's not for me, and it would have been the 12,000. Is that a number within what you would consider worthwhile exploring?
Well, that's 25% of what I spend on a website annually. Like, to me, it's too much. Like, if I was a more web-driven business, yeah, it makes total sense, and it is worth. It's not that I don't think your product is worth that. It's for what I do online. Even if my conversion rate was higher, the type of traffic that comes to our website is not financially qualified. The leads I get from brokers, external brokers, and our in-house recruiters are financially qualified or have a better likelihood of being financially qualified. So,
okay.
And then third is our referral program and our referral leads from our existing franchisees, who also only refer people who, for the most part, are financially qualified. So because starting a business now, we're not the most expensive franchise on the block by any means, but it's a $150,000 investment. And last year, our typical new franchisee had a net worth of, $750,000. So the problem with our website is that we keep it, because we have an automated lead process to kind of funnel these people, since we get 100 inquiries a week, we can afford to let people fill out that form that don't have the money they need to open a franchise. But the fact of the matter is, I don't know that increasing my conversion rate does me any good, because I think most of the traffic to our website is not financially qualified, or they're not in a position to open a business within the next 6 months. Like, they're just thinking down the road, someday, in 10 years. Because if they were serious about opening a business, more than likely they'd be working through a broker.
That all makes that. If you let me just jump in. No, it sounds to me perfect sense that the only practical, the main benefit usage based on everything you've told us would be a lot more about possibly pre-qualifying leads through better usage of keywords, something along those lines. If you guys have more leads, and like you said, a lot of them are low quality, any insight type product, that would be the potential usage. It's a different question of how much effect that would make, but it would be more about, out of these keywords, how many sales are we getting? What's the value of client? Okay, let's stop using this keyword. Let's try to, I'm trying to think of the term used in a lot of marketing cases, to throw in more negative qualifiers to get higher quality leads and traffic. So any of this, that would just be my starting point based on what I heard, would be to negative qualify keywords to get more high quality traffic, especially if you're paying per click, because there's nothing worse than having more leads than you can practically handle. If you're on the premise of these aren't valuable, we're worried about conversion rates, not how many people fill out the form. So let's, try to fine tune that process and choose. So that's just my general overview based on the discussion.
Yeah.
Just for potential use case on your end.
So I guess, it is interesting, and I do want to share this product with our Vice President of Franchising and just say, what do you think about that? Overall, our total budget for the year, that's it's a significant amount. I was a web-based company, and I did a web-based business, and it was online ordering or that type of thing, then yeah, that makes sense. But I just don't know. Now for expresspros.com, I know I said I don't manage that site, but I can give her your name and contact information and share the interesting aspects I saw here today. And that website is a much bigger machine, and it has different capabilities, and that might be something more in line. Like, we don't pay even for web trends on this Express franchising site. You know what I mean? But that website does pay for enhanced analytics like that. So just maybe that's kind of the camp I'm coming from.
It all makes perfect sense, Rachel. It sounds like that would be the next practical, premise. What we try to get across is capability overview to be able to make the decisions on your end. The only other point I would bring up is if you're on your end internally, what we have been willing to concede really just as of late, because we are a couple of partners in the company. I'm the CEO, so I guess I have authority to bring down these prices and the circumstances, because a lot of these cases, it's a learning process for us to understand the conversions and value to add to a business like yours. So we would probably be willing to make a concession on as opposed to the year, and on the monthly rate. That's definitely an option on our end. So if there's still a point of interest to you once speaking internally and follow up with us, we might be able to get a lower best you can do and remove our usual requirement of a contract. So that's just a thought process. It all depends on where you're looking, of course. So.
Okay, for sure. And I think I have your contact information, but could you go ahead and give me your phone number again, just so I have it on my notes page with this?
Sure. I'm just going to give you my direct line. It's 858.
Okay.
333.
Okay.
8667.
Okay.
And it's extension 310 from there. As soon as you hear the ring, if you click 310, it forwards to my cell phone or if I'm in the office. That's just for me. Yeah, that's the last point to make. I think it's relevant. Is this is on our part a point of stubbornness in a lot of cases, because we've seen quite a lot of cases where we're really trying to figure out how much value we can add based on the scenario to use for future cases.
Yeah. Well, no, for sure. And I think it's, we're probably, because a conversion on our site doesn't add any money to our business, it's not a sale. A conversion is not a sale. We're probably a tougher one to figure out.
Yeah, it just depends on the value of the lead based on the closing percentage. That's what all these analytics come down to, is the leads coming from this keyword as a whole are worth 4 cents each because X percent, So that's kind of the point of all these kind of products, is to get clear insight into what's worthwhile, what's going to make more money with spending less, basically. So.
For sure. All right. Well, thank you very much for your time today. This is very interesting and pretty sophisticated. So I really enjoyed it. I was intrigued.
Okay, thank you very much, Rachel. I'm going to have an assistant follow up with you in a week or so just to kind of say hi. And please don't hesitate to call me directly if you speak to anyone in your organization, or, of course, you reference the Express Pros if you think it's relevant to set up a meeting on their end.
For sure.
All right. Thanks a lot, Rachel. Nice talking.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you. You guys have a good afternoon.
You too.
You too. Nice, right. But I think you will have to dismiss.
1 second, I am. Okay, she left.
Good.
Honestly, I think we did as best as we could have possibly done in this situation. I'm sure you're probably angry that I mentioned concession, but I didn't see it.
No, that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. I wanted to say, because when she mentioned, whatever the number.
You obviously know, just like me, the most important number. She obviously assumed that this is going to be 6 figures. She assumed it's going to be. So this is the important.
So this is why I brought it like this. 12,000 is that, but obviously, to her it was still, because she's thinking differently. I think
this is not how you're supposed to think with marketing, to say, oh, what can we do? How can we fix anything? It's hard to deal with these people.
Anyway, in your follow-up, I